This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, howdy, folks. How you going? A little earlier tonight. What time is it? Oh, look, the world is telling me that I'm running early. It's about 10 to 6 local time. That could be 10 to 5 where you are. It could be 4:30. It could be 7:15 or 9:30. God knows. Hope you're having a good day. We finished our drive. We have arrived. And what a great place we have arrived to, can I tell you. Really looking forward to our time in Canberra tonight. Here's some news. Interesting, the ACT government has decriminalised small amounts of commonly used illicit drugs, becoming the first jurisdiction to do so in Australia. So you can have 1.5 grams of meth. You can have 1.5 grams of coke, 1.5 grams of amphetamine, MDMA, although we now know that MDMA is going to be available through prescription, which is apparently a good thing, particularly if you're suffering from PTSD. Go and ask your psychologist about that. Heroin, you can have a gram of that in the ACT. Cannabis, 50 grams dried. And psilocybin, which is also forming part of that TGA new order that was released a few days ago. So I think it is from July 1 this year, you'll be able to get psilocybin prescribed to you as well. And you can get a little bit of LSD, 0.001 of a gram. I guess that would have to be about the definition of microdosing, don't you think? At any rate, welcome to Canberra. That's what's going on there. I have a little bit of housekeeping. Tonight's Magna Carta show normally would begin at 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, but tonight it is not. It's going to hopefully, if I can get hold of Fitz, start a little bit earlier at 7 o'clock. Got a bit to cover tonight. We're going to talk about sovereigns and we're going to talk about citizens, and we're going to leave everybody in absolutely no doubt why there is no such thing as a sovereign citizen. So why are the media trying to tell you there is? That's the question you might want to ask your friends when they use that term. So be listening out for that. 7 o'clock tonight, and Fitz has got a heap of stuff he's been working on over the last week. Of course, Guru, when he made his appearance on B105, used the definitions that Fitz wrote. And Fitz has been busy on his own Facebook page, of course, Soundbite University, and he is a bit of a star on there at the moment. In fact, he's written a number of things that have taken off around the world, and very important statements that he's been making and very important clarity he is giving. I think some of the stuff that he has written is currently viewed at around 25,000 times, been shared about 25,000 times. And there is some interesting news that I'll let him share with that later on too, about Will Keats, who we've had on the show too before with our Magna Carta stuff. So that's all coming up from 7 o'clock tonight, provided Fitz gets the message. Otherwise, it'll be 7:30. I'll just be here talking to you for half an hour beforehand. G'day, Lee. Yeah, I love the earlier time of the show too. We'll see what we can do, mate. We're planning on making a few little changes about things. So, yeah, well, daylight savings is more of a hindrance than a help in some cases, but sometimes it does help. G'day, Paul. CBD with THC, great via TGA approval in Queensland. Well, I haven't heard of it. Oh, yeah, maybe I have heard of that. G'day, Ben. G'day, Elsa. Nari, Paul's in the room too. Pray for Turkey earthquake victims. Well, there you go. I haven't even looked at news today. I didn't even know there's been an earthquake in Turkey. So I guess I'll have to go and. Would you like me to go and do that, or I can show you a few interesting things that I've come across in the last few days. But yeah, I'll have to go and catch up on what's happened in the world. Can't get into the doctors as now they have to wait for the crackheads as well. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Hello, Aussie Sue. How are you, darling? So, yeah, tonight's Magna Carta show going to happen at 7 o'clock rather than 7:30. And there will be some changes to what I do and some regularity, and we might try and smarten things up a bit. I need a haircut. And I certainly need a shave, so we'll be working on that. Don't forget tomorrow night, beautiful people. If you want to be part of the Australian Medical Professional Society's conference that's happening in Canberra tomorrow night, you'll only see it on the Voice of Freedom Rumble channel. I'll set that channel up tomorrow, and I will heavily promote it across YouTube all day, but we will not be able to put it on a YouTube channel because it's AMPS and it'll just get banned. I will run it on my Facebook page. I will run it on their Facebook page if I can gain access to it. That's the AMPS Facebook page. But pretty much the only place you are going to see it live and uninterrupted will be from 7 p.m. tomorrow night. It's happening live in a pub in Canberra. I'll have those details a little later on in the next show. If you are in Canberra or you want to come to it, and I think Senator Roberts, Senator Antic, and Senator... there's a few of them speaking. So there's a few of the folks that are fighting for us speaking, at least. And there is apparently going to be some medical professionals who've had to give their job away because they haven't been squeezed in the inappropriate manner. And they'll be speaking about their experiences too. So it's going to be a fairly interesting show. And I'm sure that Malcolm Roberts, who will be making a speech, will have something interesting to say. And Dr. Robert McCulloch will be appearing at least live via videotape. He's travelling at the moment, of course, getting ready for his tour of Australia. I think he's in New Zealand at the moment. So he won't be appearing live, but we have a message from him that I believe is going to be recorded fairly shortly. And that's all going to be pretty cool. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. As you can hear, the dog's getting a tad excited. Let's have a bit of a look at what else I've got in my little packet of pictures here. If you are in the Sydney area, particularly in the Penrith area, and you are in need of a good night out, great food and a huge night of X Factor finalists. Now, it's a classic rock show happening at Maldini's. Now, we did a show at Maldini's a little while back. Pat and his staff there are absolutely magnificent. So it's coming up on March the 3rd. It's a Freedom Fighters show. You've got to book your tickets. You can get all the details there on the poster. It's actually a beautiful meal as well. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, but that is that's the sample menu that he's thinking about throwing out for the night. Got to say, absolutely spectacular. And if we can work it out, I'm going to be coming to that one, as long as I'm not meant to be in South Australia by that stage. Hello, South Australia. Yes, a lot of people over there are saying, when are you coming to South Australia? Cherie is the lady to talk to. She will line up those dates for you 100%. And once we've done that, we can sort of put the jigsaw together, if you like, that will get us from, Queensland, I hope, to South Australia and then back out again. We will no doubt turn up into Victoria in a few different places. And there are people in Mount Gambier saying they want to have a show there, but nobody's contacting Cherie. So if that's the case, please contact Cherie. If you live in Mildura, if you live in Swan Hill, if you live in Echuca, I believe that somebody raised their hand up and said they want shows in those areas. If that's the case, get a hold of Cherie. We'll call in and see you on the way past through to South Australia. If not, we'll head down into Melbourne and catch up with a few friends down there. So we have to break the drive somewhere at the end of the day. That wouldn't be a bad place to be. And Melbourne, well, Melbourne's a bloody magnificent town. Every year, if you don't live in Victoria, you still have probably heard of something called the Royal Children's Hospital Appeal. Every Easter Friday or Good Friday, they do the Royal Children's Hospital Good Friday Appeal on one of the television networks down there, and every TV radio station vies to be part of that. There's only one TV station vying to be part of it, I've got to admit, and I think that one's Channel 7 from memory. They raise millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars for the Royal Children's Hospital. They have kids shaking tins on corner streets, and I think now it's about the only time of the year where you are allowed to shake a tin on a corner, but they happen on every street corner in Melbourne and every street corner just about in every small country town scattered throughout Victoria. Would you like to see what they build with it? That's the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne. Does it look familiar at all? Bit of a shock, probably not. But you never get to see these things until you look from above. And That's the whole complex. So, yeah, anyway, they have all sorts of interesting symbols. Couple more there you might want to just have a little bit of a look into. Now, I'm really pleased with this next shot that I've got because I'm not sure how many people have seen this shot yet. I think we're probably exclusive to the world with this shot. By a strange coincidence, I happen to know someone who knows someone who knew someone flying the plane that shot down the Chinese weather balloon. Now, before it was shot down, they flew past it and took a photo out of the cockpit, and this is what it said. Got to give you a laugh sometime, haven't I? Well, I hope you're laughing. Otherwise, I've not left it up long enough and you're a slow reader. That could be hard to say. Want me to put it up again? Weather balloon. Totally not for spying. I roared laughing when I saw that. Interesting things happening in Queensland at the moment. So we all know, particularly in Queensland, we are seeing a lot of ambulances on the road. In fact, I drove from the city back out to where I live the other day. It's a journey of probably 45 minutes. And in that time, I saw 7 ambulances. Now, yeah, okay, how weird is that? Well, it's pretty weird. Considering the area that I was traveling through, going to, a lot of these ambulances aren't traveling with sirens, just lights, which is now the directive. Do not go alerting the world that you're going somewhere because too many people are using their dark sense of humor and calling these ambulances with sirens on something else. And ordinarily, people would be concerned. People show concern for ambulances. Now, there seems to be a lot of awake people in Queensland who are calling it something other than an urgent medical delivery, shall we put it that way. Yes, I did say something about med beds yesterday. You're going to follow up about that? Yep. Okay, so I haven't cut it up together yet. I've been able to see a video, and I will cut chunks out of it or grab some screenshots out of it so that I can show you. I can't talk to Fitz at the moment. He's ringing up to say he either can or can't do 7 o'clock. We'll figure it out. Yes, so there is no actual start date for the med beds. That's the first thing. Apparently, people are being trained and trained in large numbers, military people for the most part initially. The med beds are being built supposedly. I have no pictures, but the word is that they're being built in Nevada, and they are able to churn out about 1,000 of them a day. Now, the med beds are not going to be available for private sale, regardless how wealthy you are already. The med beds will be strictly controlled technology that for the first, I suspect, possibly up to 10 years, will be controlled and operated by the military or military-trained medical personnel. Now, the med beds will not be given to hospitals. Med beds will not be given to hospitals. Hospitals and the current hospital system as we know it will be allowed to erode and fall apart. There will be no reason for long-term medical care. Now, I'm sort of paraphrasing here and remembering things from a video that I watched the night before last. So forgive me, I may not mention everything correctly or in the right order. Yes, only the unvaxxed will be given access to begin with. Now, there are reasons for that. That is because there are unvaxxed people who are terribly, terribly unwell, and they will go through these machines first. How long does it take to go through a machine? Depending on the procedure, anywhere from minutes to 15 hours. The maximum amount of time you can spend in one of these machines is 15 hours. You can go through one of these machines 3 times and spend a maximum of 15 hours per time in there. But after that, you're not going through them again. Also, apparently, when it comes to regeneration of youth, age regression is possible, but it will only be offered to certain people. Now, that's because maybe there are certain parameters that these people have to make If they want to live another 200 years, they might be offering something significant to the community. And I know nothing about this. I know nothing about how they would judge a person. I'm just hypothesizing here. I guess if you were some humanitarian that was doing great and good, it's worth having you around a bit longer. Or if you were inspiring the people, or you were making great leaps in interstellar relations, then yes, it probably does make sense. But for the most part, no. Going back and being re-aged 30 or 40 years is not going to be available to most of us. What will happen is we will get a regeneration. That means that our bodies will be made as fit as they should be for our respective ages. We will lose any weight, excess weight that's being carried, and you may even have excess weight added to you if you are underweight. Mental health issues. So I'm thinking here now specifically of anorexia or eating disorders, because I just mentioned weight things. So mental health is a different sort of healing that is required. And while there are benefits of going through a med bed, and yes, memories can be erased or at least suppressed, but at some point, just like in our everyday lives when we have a trauma, we have to face it. We have to face what these issues are and rise to meet them. Now, there will be plenty of support, plenty of counselling, and the way that the video that I saw put it at least says that there will be both on-world and off-world counsellors available. So that indicates to me that there are benevolent forces working in the background and certainly involved with the medbed situation. A medbed situation, if you're just joining in, that seems to be working along the lines that the military will run, control and operate those facilities. Now, you may be able to open up a facility if you have facility for the facility. You may be able to open one up. They have thrown out some fairly defined things that you will need. For the most part, you will need a minimum of 6 machines, which you will not be able to buy. They will be given to you by the military, and they will be staffed by the military or the military-trained personnel. 2 of those machines will need to be extra large or oversized machines for larger people, and you will have to have, I believe, a recovery room capable of holding up to 30 beds. So depending on the procedures that you go through, as I said before, those procedures might last a few minutes or might last up to 15 hours, depending on just how complex those procedures are. And they will be able to fix any issue with your body, because apparently how these things work is they manipulate your DNA from the base level. So will it be possible to grow a finger back? Yes, it will. Will it be possible? It's just dawned on me. I have a good mate who works in radio on the Sunshine Coast, Toddy. He runs a game on his radio show occasionally called How'd You Lose Your Finger? Personally, I think one of the best radio games ever come up with. So Todd Whitcomb, all yours. But if you've got a story for how'd you lose your finger, then you'll have another one for how my finger grew back, because that's what it'll be. Prosthetics. So if you have prosthetics in your body, now I'm speaking here of pins, plates, titanium, all that sort of stuff. The quote from the video I saw is, they will be dissolved. They will be dissolved in your body, and I suppose removed through, like all the other toxins in the body. How will you be knocked out? How will all this work? Well, according to the video, you will be given a light sedative when you arrive. Then you will get into the bed. You will be, the bed will essentially give you sleeping gas that'll knock you out for the duration of the process. And then you will wake up in recovery and be allowed to go home, in most cases, same day. Just once again, depends on how complex your case will be. So who decides who goes first and how that works? Well, the unvaxxed will go first, probably in part because it's better to have healthy people, already healthy people, ready to go out and help those who aren't awake and unhealthy. So I guess the qualifying factor here is to have the awake people who are going to embrace this technology immediately and, line up for it. So what will happen is, my understanding is you will be given a place somewhere near you, a facility where you'll be able to go and be seen. Call it triage, if you like. Now, this will be for every person. Doesn't matter how sick or how well or whatever you are. If you're going to help your grandmother go there, or if you're going to take your friend who's got cancer or whatever, you will be seen at the same time. Just stand in line beside them. Get a baseline, and that's what will happen. You will get a baseline run through. You will be given a date and time to turn up for that. So if you have a cancer or something that is very serious that is going to kill you in the shorter term, then rest assured you'll see the inside of these med beds before anybody else will. That then cured, you out presumably to spread the word and let the normies know that it really isn't science fiction, that we weren't full of bullshit, and it really is happening. And please God, that's exactly the way that it's going to play out. So once you've been triaged, once your level of wellness has been assessed, then you will be prioritized by the computer, not just any computer, but by a quantum computer. It will put you into a system that will then compare your results versus everybody else who needs to get into a med bed. It will compare where you lived compared to where the med beds are, how many people they can put through in your particular area at a time, and that would depend on the facilities being available to people. So if I would keep an ear out if you have a room, a facility where you can get the required room space available. You'll need 6 treatment rooms for the beds. You'll need recovery. You'll need pre and post-op, I'm sure. So, there are certain things that you're going to want to have set up. Now, if you already own private buildings and put medical doctors in them as practices, there won't be much use for those medical doctors. They won't be having anybody coming to see them. So maybe if you own those properties now, you might want to consider what's coming in the future. I think some of the doctors are probably going to have a few problems anyway. So once the computer has allocated you a position in the system, you will be given a time and date for your treatment. And you just turn up at that time and that date at the specified place, and you will get treated. Yes, it will grow teeth back. Yes, medbeds will grow limbs back. Yes, it can affect every DNA imbalance in the human body and make it right. What that means for gene disorders, and I'm thinking now here with Down syndrome, that kind of thing, does that correct that straight away? What does that do? I don't understand how that will work just yet, but God, fingers crossed, that kind of thing can happen. It would be just the most amazing thing to see, truly the most amazing thing to see. And everything I saw in this video leads me to believe that it's 100% true, 100% being worked on, and is not that far away. Mental health and the magic mushrooms. Neil Mitchell made us speak about it, did he, Rosanna? Well, what can I say? Psilocybin. I guess there is a community that already is into the microdosing sort of format, and apparently works wonders for people who are suffering things like anxiety, depression, and PTSD. So I couldn't tell you anything about it other than it's a mushroom. I don't know where the mushroom grows. I don't know how you find the mushroom. I've seen a lot of people running around in paddocks with knives, and, but don't know if they're the right sort of mushrooms. But at any rate, you are going to be able to access that. It will be through clinical psychologists or psychiatrists and above. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now, balanced shares. I love what you're saying here. You can undo trauma through lifting your vibration. Yes, I agree. And in fact, lifting our vibration is exactly something that we need to do. So what can I do to lift your vibration? How's this? I look at people sometimes and think, really, is that the best sperm that won? Has that lifted your vibration at all? I'm just wondering. Let's go back to this. Interesting. This came out on Telegram a little while ago, about one day last week, I think. And I, for whatever reason, missed it. It says, met up with a friend this morning whose wife is a cardiologist in Brisbane. His wife got a group email from APRA addressed to doctors and health staff statewide about assisted suicide. So thousands CC'd the email. They recommended that they don't put death from the drugs that killed the person on the death certificate, but instead put the illness that they had at the time as the cause. Instead, put the illness they had at the time as the cause, not the poisonous cocktail you put into them. Oh no, they just died of lung disease, not remdesivir. At any rate, after the person dies, the practical steps and legal obligations are laid out for the department there to follow. And that means don't. For God's sake, whatever you do, don't tell them we killed them. Can't be doing that. And of course, they don't use, they're not saying remdesivir. It'll be the little concoction they give you to, oh, there's no pain. Yes, they can hear you. No, they can't respond. I wonder how much truth there is in that. There's no wonder that there's not going to be much room for hospitals once med beds come into this world. God. So you've caught up on what's happened with Thailand. Are you following what's happening with that? It's pretty hard because the mainstream media are avoiding it at all costs, like they're avoiding this. Spain is now the 9th country to take its health minister to court and win. The Spanish High Court has announced that COVID-19 is a bioweapon with a patent. What's Albo doing? Getting ready for The Voice. Woohoo. Now, you've heard us talk about Admiral Byrd and Admiral Byrd's huge expedition to the Antarctic just after the Second World War, 47, 48. Now, he had his ass kicked down there. Nobody really knows how he had his ass kicked except Admiral Byrd. There are some interesting Byrd diaries available. I commend them to you. Go and find them and read them. Now, what on earth were they thinking they were going to be able to do by, well, going out and getting into Antarctica? How were they going to explore it? Well, Byrd had an idea that he would be able to fly around Antarctica. He had a number of aircraft that he tested, and eventually he just settled on one, and it looked like this. Now, that is something called the Antarctic Snow Cruiser, an absolute stunning beast. But if he wanted to go and get, you know, a bit cool about life, the universe and everything, he could put a little plane on top of it like that. Now, I don't know whether or not the idea was to, I think it was to slide the plane off the back, and it's on skis there, so it would be able to take off on snow, you would think. That snow crawler at 37 ton, would certainly be able to pack down enough of a runway, you would think, and then load it back up on afterwards. Unfortunately, for whatever happened, whatever reason, it never made it. And I mean never made it. Let me show you the other part of this is where the crew were going to live. So you can see how they broke this snow crawler down, or the snow cruiser down. They had 8 blokes, I think, or maybe even 9 or 10 blokes on this. You can see there was a cab where they can do the driving and sort of look out all around and keep things. But they were going to live in this vehicle for over a year. That was their plan. It never quite made it. And why did it never quite make it? Well, word is it got blowed up. But did it get blowed up? That is the $64,000 question. We're not completely sure because there is some talk that it's been found. I'll keep my eye out for that. And if that is the case, then yes, we will try and bring you pictures of that. But there is some talk that it's been found in Antarctica, quite damaged. So, yeah. Am I getting paid to promote what? Antarctica? Sorry, Jared, you're going to have to say that again. But no, I get paid. I'm not getting paid to promote anything, mate, at the moment. Nothing. So let me have a look here. I'm just trying to see what I'm getting paid for, Jared, to try and figure this out. I don't keep up the chat all the time. Yes, that is a big target. Oh, well, Jared, you sound like you're half smart. They are trying to put us in pods, mate, 20-minute pods to begin with, and then they're going to lock you down into your own pod, which might be your house or it might be your apartment or whatever the hell it's going to be. But at the moment, that pod is a 15 or 20-minute city, and that's how they're wiping or starting them out. So hang on. I'm scrolling down to the bottom, Jared. Sounds like something straight out of the WF. Yes, you are very clever. It is straight out of the WF. Toxic Q, bad good person. I see you guys at me, right? Okay. Now there is something we should ask Malcolm Roberts and Senator Antic tomorrow night. I'll see whether or not they'll come on the show after they've had their time at the conference tomorrow night. I'm not sure that they will, but I might have a galactic larrikin hiding around the corner with a camera on another channel, so just be aware. We might figure that one out a little bit later on. But we're not trying to catch anybody out. That's important to note. Not trying to catch anybody out. Not trying to ask any hard questions. Just trying to ask questions, and nothing too ridiculous. Particularly as we're going to be very interested in what they're bringing to the table tomorrow night to learn about the hokey pokey. So, yeah. So the WEF, right. Oh, maybe that's what you think I'm getting paid to talk about. The med beds. No, I'm not getting paid to talk about med beds. It sounds like a WEF trap. No, well, if you think the WEF is still in control, I don't think so. I think they're going to be entirely military. In fact, I can't see any other way it could happen other than entirely military. Just like we can't see any other way that this whole thing, comes to a point and erupts. We can't do it without military. It's that simple. Yep, I'm with you, Russ. Med beds are out there. Frequency healing technology is available to you folks. And in fact, I'm trying to get a hold of a lady, a naturopath, in Queensland, who is, I believe, aware of this frequency healing and the abilities that it has. I've also heard from people who you probably heard me talk about the iTerra wand. I know a number of people who've gone off and bought these iTerra wands and swear by them, absolutely swear by them. I also have heard other people who've used them and say, I don't really feel the difference. So I guess, like everything else, try it. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. I'm not getting paid to sell iTerra wands or anything else. So by all means, go and try them. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are they worth talking about? Do they heal? And if so, I will talk about them because I want to help people, not because I want to get paid. I would much rather give people a machine or access to a machine or to technology that I've heard about so that they can help themselves to it. It's got nothing to do with me getting paid for them going to it. Nothing at all. So please don't try and hamstring me like that. That's just a basic, bad argument. So we won't play that game. Frequency machines are capable of giving you all sorts of relief. Yeah, David, I would agree 100%. Yeah, Paul, there are a heap of healing videos out there. And there are a heap of people out there saying frequency doesn't work for me. Look, I've had one 10-minute go on an iTerra wand, and I had what is probably best described as gout, but not for gout reasons. I get gout from having a pine lime splice or pine lemon cordial, or, as I figured out in the last few days, pine lime or that yellow limey Gatorade. And absolutely kills. So I had a very sore foot, and my friend Len very graciously said, here, try this for 10 minutes. And okay, it looks like an oversized hairdryer. It blows hot air on your foot. Well, in my case, on my foot. And I waved it around the foot, and, for a good 10 minutes. I think I was on setting number 2 from memory. And I probably gave it a bit more than 10 minutes and gave it back to him, said thanks very much, didn't really think about it. Went to bed that night, woke up the next morning and could stand on my foot, no problems at all. Even if I take medication to try and get rid of the pain, it takes a day or two for it to leave. With this, the next day, perfect. Now, was it just because the pain had run its cycle, or I'd run all that stuff out of my body and it just timed perfectly? Possibly. But I've only ever had one go on the iTerra wand, and okay, it's a hell of a coincidence that my pain ended at the same time just after I'd used the iTerra wand. I get back pain, neck pain. I don't have an iTerra wand. Next time I see Len, I'm sure he'll wave it over my back for me for 10 minutes. We'll see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to it. And I've got another mate on the Sunshine Coast who's got one now, he tells me. So Camilla, look out, I'm coming to you. What else are people saying here? Trump said in comms that the USA will put their flag on Mars soon. Okay, Mars is abbreviated for Military Auxiliary Radio System, or the Emergency Broadcast System. Yeah, well, that's interesting. That could be an acronym, Nari, we are all going to be very interested in. I have seen no news. I've been traveling for 2 days, so I haven't really caught up on anything much at all. But I will give it a bit of a look tonight once we've finished with Fitz's show, and I'll try and have something decent for you to say in the coming days. Wednesday night, going to be joined by Vince. We're going to talk blockchain and Bitcoin and try and make sense of it. He knows a bit more about me, and Vince is a bit of a legend. He's on our team. So I can't wait to have him on the show and let him loose. Also, people in Mannum, if you are at all interested in joining a My Place, you'll find Vince at that My Place. And we're looking forward to coming to South Australia and catching you all in Mannum. I was saying Manning the other day, Manning, Western Australia. I don't know where I got that from. Mannum in South Australia. Looking forward to it. There you go. Now Camilo's in. Intercare wand works for you. You've been using that for about a month. Yeah, right. Very cool, mate. I'm pleased that's working. So yeah, frequency healing is a thing, and I'm really hoping we can catch up with somebody who might be able to give us a little bit more detail about that. And yeah, interesting. You should say Neil Oliver here, Fat, because come back tonight. Come back for the Magna Carta show tonight at 7 o'clock tonight, because you will find that Neil will make a bit of a mention in that show, and we are working in the background to make that happen. In fact, Will Keats, who we've had on this show before, his Fitz UK counterpart, has already been on Neil's show a couple of times, so we're trying to open a door there and see what happens. But yeah, Neil's a very, very intelligent man. And if you've had a look at any of the Will Keats interviews that I've done, or on Fitz's channel, which is Soundbite University on Facebook, then you'll know that those boys are certainly onto common law and which way we should be going with all of this. So yeah, everything is a vibration in our world, David. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Oh, now, right. Now I've got to tell you, otherwise I'm going to be in the shit with Cherie. Memberships. Please, folks, if you want to try and support us any way you can, and thank you, Sunflower, for your sticker. God love you. If you would like to join us in any way, shape, or form, you can do so by donating. You can throw a sticker up in here if you want, or you can go to our website at vofhq.com, hit the donate button, or if you'd like to be a member and join us every month, it's I think about $1.25 is the basic one, and you can join whichever tier you want. There is nothing special you'll gain extra by joining a higher up tier. I am hopeful once I get a bit of a base happening here where I can sort of set the gear up and start working every day. I'm hopeful that I'll be putting out a members newsletter at least once a month, but maybe once a week if I can get to writing it. I will have a little bit of help. There's well, there might be a certain old grouch who might write a bit for me too. We'll see what happens. But we'll try and get a little bit more information coming up on our VOFHQ website on a daily basis. The problem really is, for me, having location to somewhere to set all the gear up and actually work out of without having to tear it down after 3 hours of using it. So we're working on that on a solution for that, and that is coming. I promise you. Wave the wand over elbow. Yeah, don't know that even waving one of those wands is going to raise his vibration much at all. It's hard to get the dead to vibrate, I would have thought, but that's just my opinion. Paul, we had a bit of a talk about med beds. No cooker. No cooker. No cooker. You're not banned. No, you don't matter enough to ban. We'd just love to have you. It's always good to have listeners and viewers. So no, not worried about that at all. Skittles damage DNA. I wouldn't know. I've never eaten one. Well, that's not true. I know they're bloody awful, so I must have eaten one at some stage. But I now know how to stay away from them. 7.8 magnitude, was it, Cam? Wow, that is nasty. Was it in the middle of nowhere, or has this done real damage in downtown Istanbul? Wow, okay. So I'll go and have a bit of a look and see what's going on there. Aren't they all skeptics at Cooker Watch or us? I don't know. I've never been there to check it out. But if that's the case, then, let them go. I think, Cooker, thank you. The email that you sent me, you said you were helping me, you were helping promote me or, expose me to an audience. Somebody sent me some screenshots of your Twitch. You had 1,700 the day before we talked and you had 1,800 the day after. I can't help but think that I might be the one helping you. But anyway, God love you. And best of luck with that mainstream media thing. How would I know anything about that? Oh, you never know who knows who in the big world. Hey, Angel, thank you very much. And Central Turkey, Camillo. Righto, great. Yep, okay, mate. I will go on and do that. I can't avoid this. I really can't avoid this in a 66. Help me, help you. Are you a Kiwi? I don't know. If we were going to help you, help me, or help anybody else, we'd probably have to start with spelling. Just saying. I know you Satanists don't care how it spells, but that's just how it is. So, I'm not interested in it, Cooker, your Twitch. I'll just point this out. I'm definitely not interested in your Twitch. Somebody sent me the screenshots. That's what I said. So I haven't seen it at all. Anyway, don't think I've got much more to offer tonight. Now that Cooker's in the house, she'll have a show to go off and do over there. And I don't know, she might be doing a radio appearance soon. Anyway, God love you all. If you are on Twitter or what is it? Twitch. Then great. I used to play Rocket League. Wasn't bad at it. because I think Twitch is a gamers platform or gamers thing where you can stream. And I, used to do a few car racing sims on there, but then, Lando Norris and Max Verstappen and Shane van Gisbergen basically took it all over, and they're really hard to beat. So I gave up, realizing that my age is now defeating me. And oh, Cooker, I'm only talking about you because you've come to my room. If I hadn't have seen your name pop up, trust me, you weren't mentioned before then. You haven't missed anything. That's pretty ego driven, though, to think that I talk about you at all. And if that's the case, then hey, I won't talk about you. I'll just ignore that you're in the chat, and then you'll accuse me of ignoring you because you're in the chat and I'm not acknowledging that you're saying something to me. So I've failed to see how the upside works for me in this. You get it all ways, and that's the way you like it. Like most Satanists. Did I say that? I don't know. I just think a lot of the hysteria about this is unwarranted. It's a bit sad. I know it. I know a lot of people who are against us are very funny and very creative, and I salute you all because I genuinely admire your creativity and your humour. It is stunning. What I don't appreciate is when you start attacking people directly. And I'm not accusing any individual here, all right? I'm talking generally at you as a group. So, and that's what I meant before, Cookie. I never was targeting you specifically about anything. It was, broadly speaking, Cookie watch and the kind of person that seems to be attracted to it. I was trying to get the message across that we all have differences. And yes, some of us are older than others. If that is the case, we've lived a few more experiences than younger people. Doesn't mean we've lived better experiences or our experiences hold any greater weight, other than the fact that we've had them. And you haven't because you're not old enough yet. That experience will come with age. So that's the only point I've ever really tried to make about all of this, that I understand younger people have a different view to certain things and they feel themselves terribly progressive and welcoming, and everybody's feelings are well rubbed and tickled and everybody feels nice and cuddly and warm. Unfortunately, those of us who've lived a few more years have found out that the world doesn't quite treat everybody like that. And if you are not prepared for how the world treats you, it can be quite a shock to a point where you don't succeed in any way and fall from it, right off the face of it, without being anything at all. So my only idea, I have no idea how old anyone is. Well, then you've got very immature attitudes if you are as old as, I think you are. You've yet to be able to prove to me that you have a mature argument to make. In fact, if we want to get really serious about it, I'm going to find out all about Cooker Watch, because there is something controlled about you. I haven't been able to quite put my finger on it yet, but there is something very controlled about you, where you popped up, how you all of a sudden managed to get into the mainstream media. Be careful what you wish for. People who know the industry are looking and wondering just how many hoops you jump through or who you're connected with to make something like that happen. Particularly as the story really wasn't a story, it just came out of nowhere. And that for me is the story. That's what I'm interested in. So, yeah. And the fact that everybody who seems to be associated with you has an email address that ends in 666. Just saying. I'm the one getting the emails. So, I don't know, is it cool these days to have an email that ends in 666? Or is it that you might be working for, I don't know, a media agency or an intelligence agency? Not necessarily one here in Australia either. Yeah. Yes. Well, Ben will, I know Ben, he's a good man. I know Ben, he will come back and say, I'm not going to reveal sources, as you and I had agreed that I wouldn't reveal you. And I haven't, I've stood by it. So yes, we will work on this, and hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about each other. I am an open book. So you, on the other hand, hide behind a nom de plume, even though I know a name that you've given me. But yeah, all your followers, all the people that contact me, in a little 666 here and a few others, all your email addresses end in 666. What do you think? You do that just to think it's funny? It's cool? I don't know. No, you keep it right there, inner 666. But I'm not sure you've emailed me either. So yeah, it's just interesting. And so yeah, very interested to see just how you guys work, what sort of mainstream media show is going to have the influence of Cooker Watch on it. I'm very interested. No, Cook, check on your LinkedIn. Once again. Yeah. I've got 4 LinkedIns. You found the other 3 names yet? Just saying. Cuckoo Watch. Oh, look, all right. This is getting stupid, and I've got to do a show with Fitz in a quarter of an hour. So, all right, folks, love your work. Sue, you don't have a 666 in your email? Congratulations, neither do I. All right, folks, so there's the chat for tonight. I'll be back in about 15 minutes with another one with Fitz. This time, maybe Cookie, come in for the next one. And tonight, I promise you, if you want to talk about sovereign and citizen, then if you want to play tonight, you've got my phone number. Text me and I will send you a link, and you can come into the show tonight anonymously. Don't have to show yourself. You can come into the show anonymously tonight, and you can talk with Fitz and I about sovereigns and citizens. You brave for that? I'll send you the link. You text me and I'll send you your link, send you the link to the show in the email. Let's see how serious you are. Maybe you might be willing to learn a little bit. Or maybe not.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!